What's up, everybody? It's CMP with Craftmaster Productions and Studio1Tutorials.com. Don't forget to stop by Studio One Tutorials and pick up Arrangement Arsenal Daytona Edition, the 7 arrangements from Pusha T's seminal album Daytona, laid out in Studio One format. It'll show you the the intricate arrangements, where to drop your samples, where to take your sub bass out, how to arrange your drums, make everything really easy for you and just get you in the flow. Now, today we're going to be looking at the sample-based summer series, and I'm going through getting better and better at sampling, and as I'm uncovering things within my workflow in the middle of my sessions, I'm just cutting the session off. I'm like, I got to make a video and share this with everybody. So this is going to be just a quick gut check, and not really a technical tutorial, but just something more of a mentality, and that is using 808's with samples. Sample-based bass lines, for the most part, especially like if you're working in a boom bap tempo, they can be really simple. You can make a bass line with like 2 notes, and that's fine. And as long as it's within the root or the fifth of the track, it's gonna sound pretty good. But to do something more trap based, and to be able to write a pattern like I have here, where you see we're going between a few different notes, we got some octave changes in there, so you get a really more traditional, modern, up-to-date 808 arrangement. Is a little bit more difficult if you're not if you're not adept at playing by ear. So the way that I do it is I use Melodyne, and what I pay attention to is, and this is another thing I'm going to do a video about, but these between if you use chord track in Studio One, and you use Serato sample, and you use Melodyne, between the three of them you might get 3 different answers as far as what the scale of the track is. And I know that's what everybody wants to do. You want to get the scale of the track, and then you think you're going to be safe playing. But when you get these really cool samples that have really neat textures, and it's 60s 70s music, they'll go off scale, and they'll add different color tones that might not match up. And if they're doing that in the bass, you're gonna have a problem. So I like to use Melodyne because I have the version with direct note access. You guys that don't have this, man, Studio One gives you a license to Essentials, so you just have to monitor the Melodyne site, and whenever they have a sale, you can upgrade to this version for I think like $99, which is what I did. I did not pay $9 million for this. So anyhow, mentality. We're looking. I have this 808 pattern here going through these 3 sample changes. Here, let's just listen to the 808 in the sample. Let's do that. All right, so those are three different patterns, and you hear they all work. Now, I haven't rolled off the lows to this sample yet, and that's one exercise I do. Like normally I'll roll that all off just so the 808 can come through, but I like to keep the lows in while I'm creating. That way, when I layer my bass underneath it, it's easier to tell if something jumps out at you and it's like, that's not right. So the mentality I go into with it is I'm just looking at Melodyne, and I'll write the pattern first in in C or whatever, just copy the kicks up, but I go to the bottom of the Melodyne and I pay attention to, okay, so for bar 1 through 3 we're on E flat, and then you go down to B, and I change my pattern to match that. Now once you have those basics down, you can then make your passing tones, use a little bit of music theory knowledge, like, bass players like to move in fifths. So when you get to your turnaround, you could jump up to a fifth. Same thing here, do a little octave play. with your 808s, and then that's gonna take you from, you know, just the stagnant 2-note 808 bass line to something a lot more colorful. And this is a really important technique for me, is I like to use about three different sections of the song to sample, and especially like the type of music that I like to sample, like old psychedelic rock and Italian movie scores and stuff like that. They'll, you know, it'll get it can get a little freaky. So, you know, you see here where this first pattern, I have, you know, I have E flat ringing out for half of it, and then we go down to B. Well, on this pattern, 3 out of 4 bars is on E flat. So if I was just to copy and paste this 808 pattern, yeah, it would work, but it wouldn't be everything that it could be, and it's not gonna really lock into the harmony. And that is what I think that's the hardest part of sampling, is, you know, adding the things on top of it and really locking in the harmony. And with tools like Melodyne, you know, if you're not like a traditional musician where you can hear all this stuff, you need a little visual help. This is as big of a must-have as it is for as Serato is. Again, right here, so you see we have these E flats, and then we jump up to what the hell is that? It's G flat or something. But anyway, you jump, so this pattern then becomes, you know, based off of that, and then you see I'm jumping up to G sharp here, and then, you know, doing a little octave play for the turnaround. So that is what you want to keep in mind, is when you are working with multiple parts of a sample, or, you know, or even if you're just looping one sample, it's not good enough to just find the root note in Serato or in Hornet or in mixed in key or any of those things, and then just try to build off of that. If you have Melodyne, or, you know, if you have Studio One, and, you know, and they're good enough to give you that essential license, upgrade so that you can get a version of this. The algorithms that I'm using come from a feature called DNA. So when you look at the product site, you need to make sure that the one that you're purchasing has DNA. It stands for direct node access. So anyway, just a quick tip. This is CMP with Craftmaster Productions, Studio1tutorials.com. Don't forget to stop by and get your premium membership. It is 50 cents a day. Keep it simple, don't be basic, and we will see you on the next one.